factors, prime, and composite. Today, we're going to talk about what factors are first. A factor are the numbers that you multiply together. So numbers that are multiplied together to get a product. And the product, of course, is the answer you get when you multiply. An example of factors would be like 5 times 4 equals 20. 20 is the product. 5 and 4 are both factors because you multiply them together to get 20. So if I asked you what was a factor of 20, you would say 5 and 4 because you can multiply them together. Now, if I ask you other factors of 20, you could use that same principle. So I know that 4 and 5 are both factors of 20. You think about what else could you multiply? Well, 1 is always a factor of every number, and the number itself is a factor of itself. So I'm going to put 20 here as well. Every even number is always has a factor of 2. So if I add 2 here, I just have to figure out what I can multiply by 2 to get 20, and then I know that it's 10. So when I look at my factors, I can try 3, but I know that 3 times 7 is 21, which is 1 more than 20. And I already have 4 and 5 here. So I kind of went through all the numbers. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20 are all factors of 20. Why? Because you can multiply 1 times 20, 2 times 10, and 4 times 5, and it will all give you 20. So you need to know that because when we talked about prime numbers, then we need to know about the factors of prime numbers. A prime number is a number that only has 2 factors. And one of those factors is 1, and the other one is itself. So the number itself. An example of a prime number would be the number 3. Why? Because you can only multiply 1 times 3 to get 3. There are no other factors. So if I ask you what was a factor of 3, you would say 1 and 3. That would be it. So because of that, 3 is a prime number. Another example of a prime number is the number 2. Only thing you can multiply together to get 2 is 1 and 2. So therefore, factors of 2, 1 and 2. Those are prime numbers. Well, a composite is the opposite of prime. A composite number has more than 2 factors. Okay? So some examples would be the 20 that we used above. Why? Because 20 has 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 and 10 and 20 as factors. Again, you can multiply 1 times 20, 2 times 10, and 4 times 5 to get 20. So that because of that, 20 is considered a composite number. Another example of a composite number, the number 12. Think about what numbers can I multiply together to get 12. Well, I'm going to start right with 1 times 12. And then I'm going to try 2 because I see that 12 is an even number. So 2 times 6 is 12. Now when I think about 3, I know that I can multiply 3 times 4 to get 12. I know that 5 won't work, and I've already have 6 right here. And so I'm pretty much done with my factors. So if I'm writing the factors of 12, I'm going to write them in order from least to greatest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. And because this has 6 factors, it is known as a composite number. So let's review really, really quickly. A factor. Factors are numbers you multiply together to get a product. Prime numbers are numbers that only have 2 factors. That's 1 and the number itself. Some examples of prime numbers are 3 and 2. 5 is another one. Composite numbers, those are numbers that have more than 2 factors. 20 is a good example. 12 is a good example. 8 is another example of that. 4, most even numbers except 1 are all composite. Why? Because all of them have 1 and the number itself as well as 2. And that's prime, composite, and factors.